In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use the Divi Theme Builder in order to customize the general template for the pages of your WordPress website. And we're going to just touch on how to do that and also a few concepts so you can actually extend that beyond to the rest of the website. So let's get to it. And I'm looking at my about page on this test website that we're building, and I've just got like an image and another image and some basic information here. So if I hit edit page, you'll see that the website is built using the WordPress block editor. So nothing fantastic, it's just in the block editor. We've got a featured image over here, and simply this is what the page looks like this. So nothing fancy. So we're going to actually create in the theme builder a template that when we just create simple pages using the WordPress block editor, we want to take control of how that looks and get a better look for the page. So we're actually going to head back into the dashboard and take a look. Now, one thing we're going to what we're touching on today will actually apply to things like blog posts and other areas such as a blog page. However, what we're going to do is actually do dedicated videos for those. So if you find you haven't got quite all the information you need from this video for blog posts or creating a actual dedicated blog page, we do have other videos for that are in this playlist. For now, we're going to go down to Divi on the left, down to Theme Builder. And you see from our previous videos, we've got a custom header here. We can add a custom footer, which is nothing we've touched on in the video. What we're going to do is add a body for most of our pages. So I'm going to go over here to, before I go ahead, get a bit ahead of myself here, I can create here a default website template, and this will actually, if I do all this stuff in here, it will go across the entire website regardless. And then of course we can customize individually from there. I generally don't use this simply because sometimes some pages aren't suitable for certain things, unless of course you're talking about a header or footer. I find a global body is rarely useful. However, it depends on you and your website. I've built about 100 websites using Divi for customers and clients of mine in my business, but so I have found it to be more so setting up individual pages and areas and maybe even having global modules and things of that nature aside so that I can have things connected. But just a little bit of just wanted to sort of mention that. I'm going to go here to add a new template. And you're going to see here under template settings, we've got use on and exclude from. Now I want to use this template on all pages. I don't want to use it on all my blog posts though, because we're going to touch that in another video. But if you wanted your pages and blogs to look identical, you could tick that if you wanted to. Now, there's also a bunch of other options here. For now, I'm going to go to exclude from, and I want to exclude it from my home page. I don't want my home page to be affected by this template, so all of my actual pages are there. You'll notice over here I've actually got an all posts section there. If you have two sections that are dedicated to the same area, it won't actually let you do that. So if you actually decide you want to create a separate area for your blog posts, you kind of have to split it up and make sure that you only one area per sort of section that you specify here. Now we can also do things like add this to projects or a 404 or search page. I am going to touch on these at the end and how we can duplicate what we have and give small customizations to get things looking the way we want. But for now we have all pages ticked and we don't want our home page to be affected. Even though we don't have a design there yet, we're going to do that in another video coming up. So I'm going to create this template and we get 3 blank areas and we want to add a custom body. So I'm going to click add custom body and build a custom body. Now if you're not that familiar with the page builder, I do have a video dedicated on learning the basic information of how the page builder works. We're going to try and just cover some things as we go so you get an idea, just in case you're a bit more advanced, you might have a bit of an understanding. So we've got a section here and we can start adding in a row and then our various columns within those rows. But what we want to do is we need to actually find where we place all of the page elements for this to work. At the moment, if we were to save this, every page would just be blank between the header and the footer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a row in here and I'm going to make it full width. And there's a few modules we do need to add. The first one is the post title. So we've got post title here. Now I can actually choose to show the featured image here So we'll actually cut back and forth a little bit. Let's just get the basics on here so we can see what we're looking at. And then I add a new module for the post content. So we've got post content and post title. So now if I actually save this by coming out and clicking save, now another note, this does not save the theme builder. I do need to actually X out of here and click save changes in the theme builder to make sure that this area I created applies to the pages we're talking about. So now if I go back out in a new tab, head to my about page and refresh, it's actually not showing up. So I've got save changes. Okay, now I'll try and refresh again. So you can see here, already we've been impacted. We are going to go further than this, but we've got our title, image, and the blog content below. So you can see how that references the actual, page, not blog, how it references the page information in the build. So now we're going to go ahead and actually build a full layout and apply it and see how it looks. So now you might not like what you saw there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into, as I've mentioned in another video, the blue area is your section. The green area is the row that that contains your columns. Within those columns, you have your modules, which is the gray area. If I click on this cog in the gray area there, I can go into elements. I can turn off the meta, so this area here, or I can leave it on and choose to turn off the date in various areas within that. I'm actually going to choose to turn the meta off because it's a page, and I'm going to choose not to show the featured image. But before I turn that off, you do have some options to put the featured image above the title or as the background image. You've got a whole bunch of options, but I'm going to turn it off completely for now. So if I were to go to the page now, which I'm not going to, we'd see our title and then the information, which is pretty basic and it works reasonably well. So we can build any kind of page structure we want now. I'm actually going to go down the bottom here and I'm going to create a new section. This time I'm actually going to create something like this here. So we've got a section on the left and another smaller column on the right. And I'm going to just leave the modules blank. But what I'm going to do is take this post content module by hovering over it and clicking on these arrows. I'm going to drag it down to the left here. And now we have content to the left and we can create essentially what we had before, but something a little bit nicer. I'm going to go over here to the right and we can add in a sidebar. Now I'm only showing you at this point how you can create the basic page, but then we're going to go a bit further still. So we've got our sidebar area there. I choose the widget sidebar. I can also choose the footer areas, and you can even create widget areas if you want to by going into your widgets, and there's an option there to create widget areas. So we just choose the sidebar. So we got our basic sidebar. The problem is we have this weird line down the side, so I'm going to click on the cog symbol, go to design, and show border separator, and turn that off. So now we have our sidebar and our content over here. So we now also have this section with the post title. I can go into the section options and now we're starting to get a bit more customized. So I'm going to go into the background here and I'm going to make the background of this section like a charcoal color, and then I'm going to go into the image area, but I'm going to choose add background image. Oh, sorry. I can add an image like this, and we're going to change this in a little while, but I'll just get through this first. And I can click on this area here for the little gray cog for the title. Go to design, and where I choose text, I'm going to choose light. And then I'm also going to add a drop shadow. Scroll down and make that drop shadow pure black. So now our page will look more like that with a sidebar and content on the right. Now this is cool because it allows you to obviously have a background image. But what you can do, instead of choosing a background image which goes on every single page, we can go back into this section, and where it says background, we click on image, and I'm going to actually bin that image. And you see this little symbol here, it's like 3 discs and a plus symbol. If I click on that, I'm going to choose featured image. And this is what we see at the moment. Now, some images are going to be complex and it's going to be difficult for us to see this text above it. So I'm going to go here to gradient and add a background gradient. I'm going to choose black or that sort of charcoal color, and then click on the second color down here and choose, I'm just going to choose black. So we scroll down and we can place the gradient image above, place the gradient above the background image. So I turn that on. So that means the gradient sits over the image and we can't see the image. But now if I take this gradient, I'm going to change the direction to about 90 degrees. So the black here, if I take that black, I click on that black and I drag the transparency down, you can see it fades in and shows some of the image. And I can actually tighten this up. If I scroll down a bit, I can take the start position and bring it in. So you can see over here, it's starting about here. We've got this solid color, and then it starts to fade from here. And then I can go down to the end position and tuck that in a bit so we get the image on the right. Now, something else that might be a cool idea is if you go just to your design area, this is in your section, we can go to dividers here and go to the bottom and add a nice little divider. So maybe something a little bit different like this. And you get this cool effect. We can also change the height, divider height a little bit. So it looks pretty cool, but it's just a little bit crammed. So I'm going to actually come down to make space for this divider at the bottom. I'm going to scroll down to spacing. And the bottom padding, I might add 150 pixels. Maybe less, just say 110. Okay. Now, what we've got so far doesn't look too bad. I'm going to save this, and we're going to have a look and see how it looks for now. I'm going to refresh. So now you can see we have this bit at the top here, this cool little separator, and then we have our page information and our sidebar. So you can see already how it's pretty cool. You can take a bit more control over what we're doing. So, but now we're going to actually step it up a little bit more. We're actually going to say, okay, I'm going to give you another option. We can add a call to action at the top of the sidebar here. So if I click back, I can go plus. I can do something like add a call to action just to show you what's possible. Go to the background, make the background black, and move this up. Edit it, and I'm just going to add in here. So I've sped ahead a little bit quickly there. We're just adding a module into this section and moving it into place. I'm going to call it sign up for email exclusives or something like that. So it's free. So you can see this here. We add a link. I'm just going to add a hash in here. You can add an actual address in here to the link URL. So we've got like a nice little call to action. So you can see how we can actually customize our sidebar a bit as well. And what I might even do is go into the section over here and go to the second column and change that background to this green color, and maybe even tone the transparency down a bit, and I'll keep it at full. And then I can go into my design, I can go into spacing and padding, and maybe I decide that I want to keep the top at 0 so we see the top of this, or actually let's just add some, let's say 15 pixels around the whole thing. So you can see now how we're starting to get an effect. We've got this cool sidebar that has a green bar, and it only goes as far as the content. I can stretch it all the way down to the bottom by equalizing the column height, so you can go into, say, here, and if I scroll down, I go to design, sizing, equalize column heights, and you can have it go all the way down. Don't think it looks that good, so I'll turn it back off. But another thing I'm going to do is add another call to action at the bottom, because quite often when people are on our website, they actually, when they get to the bottom, they don't necessarily have anywhere to go. So I'm going to add a call to action here. So I'm going to go regular, I'm going to add a full width, and I'm going to add a call to action. Now I'm going to just sort of go ahead and give this one, so I'll say sign up for free. You can't really see that, so I'm going to go to background here. I'm going to turn off the background color. I'm just going to tick out for a sec, because what we're going to do is go into the section, go to background, and add an image. So we can add this dirt in here again. Oh, that's a little bit ugly, so let's actually go with something that's going to look half decent. something like that. Not enough, it's better, but it'll do. So we'll go back in here now. Say gain access to exclusive free content. And then again, we can say sign up here. And maybe you have a page or some kind of thing you can link to get people to sign up. Maybe it's just an actual form hosted by ConvertKit or MailChimp or something. But for now, again, for the sake of the video, we're going to pop a hash in there. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go to this little symbol here and I'm going to add, I'm going to say test footer call to action. I'm going to make this global because if I add this in other pages then, that means I can update it across the whole website quite easily. So we've got a little bit of a footer here. We've also got a header and we've got this information and a sidebar. Another thing we can do, so I'm going to duplicate this just so that way we can do it all at once. I'm going to duplicate this entire section. I can even have it in there twice if I want to, but I'm going to go into this row. At some point, it's going to show up. Now, we're having a few issues actually getting the panel to show up, so we can go down to this little layers icon here. Open up the section, go to the row settings. I'm going to trash this column, but I'm going to go into design, down to sizing, and I'm going to make the maximum width 800 pixels centered. And I'll show you why in a minute. I'm going to save this. I'm going to tab across and refresh this about page. So we've got our about page with the featured image. And if I change the featured image in the actual editor, it will change that image in the background. So every page can have its own image quite easily just by setting a featured image. But you can see we've got our sidebar and our content over here on the left. But if you decide you don't want a sidebar, you can just have a single column in the middle. And the reason I made it narrower is because it's going to be too difficult to read at the full width. And then we have our call to action at the bottom. So now you can see the page is starting to take shape. If not, you might even be happy with it as it is. So we're going to go up top here, we're going to remove this section and just keep this single column section here. And then of course, we can add in other things down the bottom here. We can add in like a gallery, so add a few images or something like that. You can actually go in and customize it. The only problem is this is going to show up on every single page, so you might not necessarily want that. The other thing is you can go ahead and even create more call to actions as well from there. But you get the idea. From here on, you can add whatever elements you want to around the page to get it looking the way you want. And we can even go into the section here, which for some reason isn't showing up again. This usually doesn't happen, but it's happening in the video. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go up to the dividers, and I might even just change that bottom divider to something else just for a bit of fun. So we'll get, say, this here, something a bit different. And one thing we can do is even do a little bit more, get a little bit more decorative. So I'm going to go to this section here, and I'm going to actually hit the cog. I'm going to go to design, and where it has border, I'm going to add a top border, and that way if I want to, I can make it this green color, thicken it up, and give it a top border. And even here I can go plus and add a divider and add in little elements, little design elements that are going to, if I go to sizing for the divider, I can make it a bit thicker. I can also make the max width about 300 pixels and align it to the left. And then of course we can also add more. We can actually take the same section, move it down, move it down to there. And if we go in, we can go into elements and we can turn off the title and show the meta. So that way you can take a little bit more control over the design of the page. I save that. And we can even make a few little changes here. It's a bit, and just sort of You can grab areas such as your padding in here and just adjust that visually. Save again. And so now we've actually got a page designed and we've got it looking the way we want. We can even do things such as give this area a different background color if we decided that to. I don't want to keep just adding bits and pieces, but you sort of get the idea. You can actually play around with things and get full control over the design, because since this module is its own area, we will actually do this. We'll go into the section here, go to background, add the green, and we're going to just tone it down a bit. And then the content module, we can actually go to design, add, say, box shadow. So explore these different areas and see what you can do to get the page looking a certain way. So we're going to stick with this for now. Okay, this is the final version that we're sticking to. Although, one word of caution, we will do one more thing, because the green has gone transparent on the divider because this green is transparent. So I need to go back in. There's a little handy tip. I need to put this up to full transparency and just dial this down here to lighten it so it's a solid color, and then we can save and finally see how it looks. You can even add background images, whatever you want in there, as you normally would. Same as what we've done up here. You could even have the featured image as a background image. I don't necessarily recommend it, but you can actually do that quite easily. And all you need to do is actually go into and trash and add in these little, they're called like dynamic elements in there. So that way you can set things up depending on what information is attached to the page. But I'm going to X that. And we're going to refresh. So now we have our page. About with the featured image. We're going to scroll down. And you can see we've got a problem with the white showing up on the actual post content, so we'll have to address that. But you can see how it's basically looking. So you might need to make a few adjustments just to be 100% certain. So we're going to go back and just make those adjustments. So the background color is white, because I think I did remove it. And then also we're going to make this area a solid white as well. And we're going to take this background image in this section, copy the color, go up the top here to our divider. Now these are all the little crossing the dots and crossing the T's and dotting the I's that can just make things a bit more stable. The divider color is kind of just set to pick up whatever's next. But if I go into add color and actually give it color under divider color, it should, make sure you actually choose the bottom divider. It should actually hold that then. So now I'm going to save that. Tab back and refresh. So now things are looking a bit better. We do need to add some padding in here. So you're going to have to actually just test things out, make sure they're looking the way you want to. We might remove that shadow, but you can see what's going on. You can see how we've managed to get the design of the page looking pretty much the way we want to. So we're going to do that just very quickly. We're going to go in here and adjust the padding on this design. So spacing, we're going to make the padding say 20, 20, 20, 20, like that. And then we'll actually go into here again and we're going to turn off that box shadow. And we're going to save. And then we're going to exit, because what I'm going to show you is something a little bit different. So now this should all be looking right. You see everything actually looks a bit better. It's actually got some padding in there so that everything looks the way we want it to. Our page is looking good and I'm happy to move forward from there. But here's the thing. If I go to search here and search for about, this is our search results. So we actually want to be able to customize this and even have it looking the same. So even if I go to read our blog or something like that. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to tab back and I'm going to exit. And we're going to hover up here, we're going to duplicate this template. And then where we go to use on, we're going to scroll down and choose the search results. You could even do another one for a 404 page if you want to, but we'll just do the one so you can see how it looks. So now we have our search results and I click into the body area. And the thing is, this here, sorry, exit out again for a second. I'm going to save these changes so I can show you what's going on. All right, we refresh. And you see we have the results, but there's an issue. This content doesn't show up because post/page content doesn't work for what is called archive pages or search results. So I'm going in here, and with your 404 page, you can actually design a custom page completely and assign it. You actually don't even need these elements. You can actually design pages from the theme builder if you wanted to do it that way. But I need to bin that post content, and I'm going to go plus. And we're going to go add in the, I believe it's the archive. Or sorry, no, blog. And we can say posts for current page and tick it. And then we're going to go, before we do that, we're going to add in that padding again for the blog. So design, spacing, and under padding, we're going to add 20, 20, 20, 20. Keep in mind too, just check how it looks on mobile and that, and you do also have the option to go through in any of these settings, anything you've got there, hover over, and you can click a little mobile icon and change how it looks on across different devices. So, but we'll just do the desktop to get through this. So we'll click save. If I tab back now and hit refresh, now we have results for about, and it shows about us here. So you can see how that works. And if we search for something else, we can just say maybe it's, you know, captain, some kind of word that doesn't exist. We've got nothing there. Search for cheese. So you actually can control the look of the search results. I do recommend actually picking an image for these pages though, instead of choosing the featured image. So if we tab back, head up the top, and for some reason I can't select this still, so I'm going to go into the layers, click the cog. On the background, I'm going to actually pick a background image, so I'm going to bin this one and pick an image. We'll go with the dirt, save. So now if I go back and refresh, we have the dirt. So that's how you can basically use the theme builder to create custom designs for basic WordPress pages. So as you can see, we've got our About Us page, and it looks like this. We've basically essentially given it a page layout that we want to use. If I edit that page, you can see it's still just in the block builder, the WordPress block builder. You do get a little bit of styling in there, which can be hard to read, but you get the idea. So you can actually use this to basically make life a bit quicker if you want to have a standard template across pages. Featured images there, and that's it. It just simply works like that. Like I said, make sure you go through, test out the pages, test it on devices if you really want to be thorough, because when you're talking about adding custom designs, there's always going to be little steps and little things you need to adjust. I think maybe because I was recording, the Divi theme wasn't quite responding like it normally does, but like I said, you've got that little layer icon button I've been using to go to the section you want to. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. That's the video. That's how you can customize the design of your WordPress pages using the Divi Theme Builder. So yeah, hope you found that video useful, and I hope to see you again next time. If you haven't got Divi, check it out. There's a link in the description below. Otherwise, if you want to learn more about Divi, this playlist, which is also in the description, has a ton of tutorials and areas exploring how it works. So check that out, and I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day.